Hello and welcome to the Otaku Network podcast. My name is Steve.
And I'm David.
And we are here for week 11 of the 2024 summer anime season. This week is actually episode 10 of Shoshimin, which is the final episode of the first season of the show. And then we are also going to be discussing episodes 11 of Ramen Akaneko and My Deer Friend Nokotan. Episode 10 of Shoshimin picks up exactly where episode 9 left off, where Jogoro and Yuki are still within the high-priced food establishment, having enjoyed their very decadent parfaits. So at this stage in the conversation, Jogoro is pretty cross with Yuki and brings up the idea that what she did was essentially a crime and how she fabricated an extra layer of severity to the kidnapping by faking the ransom. You know, with the help of the girl that was the insider for the group. At that, Yuki accepts the fact that she's a liar and lays out pretty straightforward to him that their friendship probably serves no purpose in continuing, as the shared goal of trying to remain in the background and not attract attention and just kind of be normal was never really their intent in the first place, even though they paid it a lot of lip service. Always continuing to delight in using their abilities and sticking their nose into other people's businesses. Yuki pretty much lays out for Jogoro that this had been a years-long plot by Yuki to bring down Isawa, someone that she felt threatened by, and knew that she could count on Jogoro to unknowingly assist her, whenever she needed to be. With this plan now finally come to fruition, she pretty much tells him that she doesn't see any point in continuing the relationship anymore, and she leaves him. We pick back up, school is resumed, and the two are definitely no longer interacting with each other. There's an underclassman in the newspaper club who is trying to press Kengo to let him do a story about the kidnapping that had taken place over the summer. Nobody knows that it was Yuki that was the victim. And nobody really knows a lot of details. It's just a lot of rumors that have been floating around online, and he wants to kind of do an expose on it, saying that he's got information that it was somebody from the school. Kengo obviously is just stonewalling him, but doing it in a diplomatic way so as not to try to draw attention or suspicion on himself, seeing as he was kind of caught in the middle of the situation to begin with. The show ends with Jogoro being asked by a girl in his class to date her. He kind of refuses, but she ignores that and just pretty much decides in her own that they're going to be a couple. And at the same time, the kid who is trying to convince Kengo to do the investigation into the kidnapping expresses his interest in Yuki, who seems to take a liking to that. And that's where season 1 of Shoshimin ends. We have Sherlock and Watson not speaking to each other, and essentially moving on with their lives. So we'll see what, we probably won't cover season 2 for the podcast, but I'll definitely tune in for season 2 when it comes out in the spring of 2025. This was an interesting end to the first season. I'm glad that it's getting a second season, because I don't know how I would have felt if this just would have been the end of the story. It wasn't necessarily anticlimactic, but it ended in a really weird place. Like a place that wasn't satisfactory. That's not really right. So yeah, we go from having the show that is it starts out as a subdued, God, I can't even think of what it would be called. A subdued mystery series to gradually becoming, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Thoughts? Series is over. 10 episodes. Well, the season is over.
I hated their breakup. It's like, you made me invested in this friendship all fucking season, and then you just end it like that. It's like, you fuckers. It's like, why did I become so super invested in this friendship that they had, especially like with going on and all the desserts and stuff? And they're like, oh, it was just a lie the whole time. And you're like, I hate that, like, it was just a lie the whole time trope.
Something tells me that we can't trust what Yuki said on face value.
I don't think we could just trust Yuki, period.
You may be right.
I think she's a piece of shit. It really, this whole thing soured my opinion of Yuki a lot. And when that guy was talking to her, I'm like, don't do it, bro. Don't do it, bro. She's not worth it.
She's a Black Widow. Back away, homie. It was, I kind of like that it ended this way, to be fair. I enjoy shows that do things out of the standard when it comes to storytelling. I enjoy stories where the good guys don't always win in the end. As an example of something that's a little bit more tied into reality and everything doesn't always wrap up nice and tidy. I mean, we're getting another season. So this season covered the 2 novels, and the second season is going to cover 2 other novels. I think we can infer from that this is not the end of the relationship between Jogoro and Yuki. But it will be interesting when we return to the story in the spring, find out kind of what was behind what took place in this final episode. With her just doing a 360 and spinning perhaps this fabrication that everything was this long arcing plot of hers. And then when he essentially rejected her because of how she handled the idea, she just threw it back at him and like went even further in the rejection. It's like, take the idea of your boss telling you you're fired and you tell them you can't fire me because I quit. That's kind of what the situation feels like. You're like, oh, you think I'm a liar? Cool. I don't need to be friends with you anymore, so it doesn't matter.
I just think Yuki's really toxic.
They're both insufferable assholes.
Right, but like
there was the whole
Jogoro isn't like emotionally manipulative.
No, he's just
a know-it-all.
He's conceited.
He's just a know-it-all.
Yeah. Well, like they did the dramatized flashback from middle school where he was like investigating where he was like doing his grand reveal of the other classmate that had done something, and everybody's like, yeah, you're right, but you know what? You're actually kind of a dick, so it doesn't matter that you're right.
Yeah. I'm a little more okay with Jogoro just because he just wants to like know things and show everybody that he does know things.
Yeah.
Which is fucking annoying, but he's not willingly manipulating people to do what he wants and doesn't care about the physical, emotional well-being of those people afterwards. 'Cause I'm pretty certain that Yuki just does not give a fuck.
No, she doesn't at all.
About anyone's like emotional or physical well-being of anyone involved in that plot.
No, I don't think so. Well, she was looking at it as she needed to ensure her safety, perhaps. I mean, she says that, but I don't know if that's exactly the case. Something tells me she was just being incredibly vindictive for reasons that we may not even fully understand. We only have a snippet of the perspective of Isawa, where she is accusing Yuki of being the person who led to her getting in trouble in middle school. Everything else we know about the situation comes from Yuki's perspective, and we're well aware of how manipulative she is.
Yeah, that's fair.
So it's hard to say what the real truth of the situation is that led to those two interacting over the course of many years now at this point, leading up to this kidnapping, not fabrication, but like encouraged kidnapping with an additional twist to it to ensure a little bit more of a severity to the punishment.
Yeah, it's just...
I'm not saying Yuki's right.
Something makes me just really uncomfortable about Yuki. She reminds me of people that I know.
So Jogoro takes delight in people recognizing his genius. I think Yuki takes delight in
the suffering of others.
Her manipulations coming to fruition. She was very pleased with how this entire situation ended up. And I think some of the emotional swings that she displayed during the conversation with Jogoro were fabricated, if not all of them.
Which is even more fucked up.
She's way toxic.
She has the emotional availability of a rock.
Yes. Yeah, no, I'll agree with that. She only wants what she wants and doesn't care about the others.
And if you notice too, the way that she phrased what she said about the guy talking to her at the end.
Yeah.
I think I like direct guys.
Yes. Yeah. That was definitely a dig on Jogoro.
That was like red flag city for me.
And it was interesting when the girl was questioning Jogoro about the current status of his relationship with Yuki, how he never denied her talking about them being a couple.
Yeah.
Maybe he just felt it wasn't worth his time to refute and just went along with it, since apparently everybody was thinking they were in some kind of romantic relationship anyways. I don't know. Interesting. As any good mystery would, the ending of this part leaves a lot more questions than answers.
Season 2.
You don't have to watch it. I'm going to watch it, but we're not going to review it for the podcast.
I'm going to need to know the end now. I better chug a Celsius before I watch every episode. Or I just wait until it all comes out and then I just binge it.
Just binge it. Yeah, you could do that.
One long fever dream of tired.
Just spend a couple of hours of them being insufferable dicks. No, I liked it. I thought it ended interestingly. Like I said yesterday, or last week, or with the last episode, I should say. Same thing. Our payoff was definitely last episode. That was the culmination and like the release of the story. This one was now set up for the next phase.
Yeah, it's definitely set up for the next season.
Yep.
They strategically announced that we're getting a next season.
Right after the episode aired, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that happens in many cases when it's known and prepared and understood.
Ramen Akaneko this week was chef's kiss. I didn't think this could get better, but like the first portion of this week's episode was Bunzo, Sasaki, and Gramps chilling at the ramen cart, and Gramps gives the both of them up for adoption to this woman whose name is Sasaki, and she takes them home and names them adorable names, Pudding, and we find out that Bunzo's baby name was Tart. However, Bunzo is not happy with this new arrangement and immediately, apparently like kung fu kicks out a window because this little kitten just breaks a fucking window and escapes back to Gramps, who begrudgingly accepts him and lets him sleep on top of the ramen cart. Gramps gets a customer. The customer kind of like, oh, you got a cat now. You're getting kind of soft. And through this exchange, Gramps finds out that Bunzo can talk. And yeah, we get kind of that cute little heartwarming interaction for the first part. The second part, we see Tamako finding a kitten. She brings the kitten to the ramen shop, and they get through a series of things that happen with kittens, at least in this world. I don't know exactly.
Oh, no. That's legit how it happens.
Okay.
Most of the steps that they were talking about, that they were warning her about, is pretty much what my wife and I go to whenever we deal with new cats.
So then we get this little heartwarming story about them looking over a kitten for the day. And at the very end of the day, the kitten escapes as he's faking sleeping. And when Tamako opens the cage, makes a mad dash for the exit. Just as this kitten is making a mad dash for the exit, the lawyer lady comes in. And this kitten, who harrowingly dodges Sabu on his harrowing escape attempt, lands onto the chest of the lawyer lady, and the two immediately fall in love with each other.
Yeah, instant bond between the two of them.
And she just starts crying and goes, "Can I keep him?" And that's how that one ends. And then finally we get a good interaction between Krishna and Bunzo, where we learn about a little bit more about Krishna and how she taught herself how to make noodles, and the harrowing job of trying to get people to understand that she is a tiger and it's not just a joke.
Yeah, she is self-taught for noodle making, and at a point she figured it would be better, or she would learn more if she could actually start learning under people that are professionals. So she would cold call like ramen shops and ask them if she could come and, learn from them for a little bit. And being as honest as she is, she would mention she's a tiger and everybody would think she's just pranking them and hang up on her and refuse, to let her come and sub in for a day or two to see how they handle their noodle making process.
We learned that a big reason why Krishna can't cut the noodles really well is because her knife is dull as fuck.
Yeah, she doesn't take care of her equipment.
And we learned that Bunzo's first job was sharpening knives.
Yeah, when he was just starting to be able to do things at the cart with the old man.
He very quickly sharpened her knife for her and then taught her how to sharpen the knife after. And all was well. This episode seemed to go by kind of fast.
There was quite a few minutes of of Daily Akaneko. I think there were like 4 minutes of Daily Akaneko at the end of it.
Daily Akaneko.
They even did a Daily Akaneko segment that wasn't related to any of the parts either.
It did. That was talking about. Oh god.
It was the garbage can one.
Yes, the garbage can, and that was a little bit of a teaser into Sabu's backstory.
Yep, and how Sabu may have interacted with
the ramen shop.
Ramen shop and gotten hired.
Sabu's the only one we need a backstory for now.
He's the last one, yeah. We were talking about it last week.
Yep.
And how we needed
Bunzo and Sabu.
Yep, and that was delivered. Like,
yeah, we got Bunzos. They signed, sealed, delivered.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed seeing Bunzo's backstory. It was a good backstory. It makes me very happy. It was very heartwarming. And it just
and it was more detail on Sasaki's backstory as well because they're intertwined.
It keeps reinforcing the fact for me that I think this is a perfect introduction anime.
Absolutely, 100%.
Because it's like it hits all of the fucking stamps of a good anime.
Of a good story in general.
Of a good story. But like, I feel like this could be this. It's just so good.
Yep.
It's like heartwarming stories, fun stories, like kind of a little bit of thrilling bits too when you get the big drama stuff of like the guy that tries to take over Ramen Akaneko or the dirtbag that comes in recording when they're not supposed to. You're like, it gives you a little bit of everything. And you're never like, well, that episode fucking sucked.
It's a show firmly grounded in reality as long as you ignore the fact that reality deals with talking cats.
I know I say it probably every week so far on the podcast. I'm just so happy I picked this one over the one that I'd originally picked.
Yeah.
Because it's just so good.
I would say, though, this week, while this episode was good, it wasn't better than last week's episode.
That's fair.
Last week's episode, I think, is probably the pinnacle of the series.
Yeah.
Just because of how, not saying anything against this episode, but there was just something about the way that they handled Hana's story that was so good.
Yeah. I want to see how the series is going to end.
Well,
I want to see how episode 12 puts the bow on top.
Hopefully, part of it will be Sabu's story now. Maybe that's what we have left beyond Tamako.
Oh, do you think we're going to get a Sabu Tamako episode?
We could. We'll find out. We'll find out with episode 12.
I'm so excited.
It does.
I'm also kind of sad at the same time. I don't want this series to end.
You know what, though? It does feel like it's coming to a place that is a comfortable and natural ending for the story.
Right.
Like, it doesn't feel like we're going to leave anything hanging.
Yeah.
Wanting more is fine and all, but it feels like we're actually going to get all the story that we should be getting.
Right. I would like to keep living in this world for another season or two.
Well, we found out the other day that the manga is available on Shonen Jump's web app.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Episode 11 of My Deer Friend Nokotan. Yeah, I'll just lay this out right in the front. The way it began with Koshtan having this idyllic spring day where everything is just beautiful and normal, I had a thought pop into my head that is incredibly relevant to how the episode ended.
Mm.
Like, that concept came into my mind, or something similar to that, from that opening sequence. And after the end of the episode, that seemed intentional that they set it up that way with just how that scene felt. So we begin with Koshan enjoying the beautiful spring weather. Everything is normal, everything is sane. She's in class, and the only thing that can disturb the serenity is Nokotan sleeping and blowing massive snot bubbles with her antlers. It escalates to sparrows? Were they sparrows? Sparrows roosting on Nokotan. And the entire class is oblivious to what's going on. The obliviousness is really what triggered it for me.
Yeah, I thought back to that with the obliviousness.
So the next part is Koshan and Nokotan are in the club room relaxing, but Nokotan is wearing a worn out, athletic warm-up suit. And it's got holes in the arms and the legs, or the elbows and the knees. And Koshan was like, look, let's go get you some new clothes. And they get lost because apparently Koshan doesn't know her way around the city still because she hasn't been there that long. She didn't grow up there. Nokotan is never any help. Wow, I can't believe how much of this episode I've forgotten with just how much the ending rocked my brain.
And then there was the hunter.
Final segment was ridiculous and seemed just,
Remember how he told you that a part got spoiled for me?
Yes.
It was the lightsaber antlers. You know, that whole sequence with Nokotan, and then the hunter.
And the hunter.
I was waiting for like a health bar to appear.
The series spins a new form of lore to its reality, where every second Tuesday of the month is Deer Day.
Yes.
Where this group of people that are indigenous hunters, kind of related to the Ainu, who are known even to this day to be mountainous, rugged folk who hunt deer and bear, come to try to get deer. So there's this old man who's part of this group of people who has been tracking Nokotan for an unspecified amount of time, and Nokotan, much like Bugs Bunny, is too wily for him. So she spends the entire episode dodging him while Koshtan is questioning why this strangely dressed, late middle-aged man, who's obviously dangerous, is being allowed to just freely roam the school. Nokotan successfully avoids him until the following day, at which point, in theory, she's safe until next month. Then we get a great segment where she's literally saved by the old man's wife calling him up and wondering where the hell he is. She just sent him out to go get something at the grocery store.
Daikon radish.
Yeah, to get some radish. And he traveled all the way from northern, central Japan to Tokyo, like 10 hours away, however far away it is. I'm not sure how far Fukushima is from Tokyo, because he was kind of from that area. And he's on his way home, and he had a hunting rifle with him that he had carried in a container, but in his haste to appease his angry wife,
forgot to put it away.
He neglected to put it back in the container, so he's just strutting through urban Japan with a 30-06 slung across his shoulder, and the cops are like,
loaded.
We're gonna have to have a talk with you at the police station, sir. And then the old wizened traditional hunter is carted away by the police.
Also, I laughed really hard when he was doing "This is my rifle." In
oh
English.
My God, that's right. So he catches her, and he starts reciting line for line the rifle prayer from basic training in Full Metal Jacket. It was so good. I was kind of sad he didn't break out the line of "This is my rifle, this is my gun, but this is for hunting, this is for killing, this is for fun." But yeah, he did the whole Marine prayer thing about their gun. That was great. And yes, in English, in pretty decent English, I might add.
Yeah.
It was quite amusing. So what I've been alluding to this entire time, and why I'm kind of flummoxed and why my brain kind of went weird with this show, is how the episode ended. The episode ended in a way that suggests to us and to Koshtan that Nokotan doesn't exist anymore, or maybe never existed at all.
And now it's making me just wonder, did anyone ever... Yes, people did interact.
Because remember, in the beginning, we were debating about the deer and why they were animated so differently, but we kept recognizing, yes, people are interacting with them, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So with the way this episode is ended, it's kind of forcing us into this idea that this may have just been some fever dream. I can't see the series ending that way, but I like that they've suddenly brought up this concept that Koshtan may be crazy, or perhaps breaking due to stress of her situation and her trying to be the perfect student and hide her past.
Nokotan's just another student.
Or never existed at all, and because the desk was empty.
Yeah, I guess. But why would there be a deer club?
Again, stress-induced insanity. Maybe Koshtan unknowingly had this obsession with deer that caused her to start the club in the first place. Or
I just want to see I want to see the last episode.
The ending got me. It was it really threw me for a loop, and I loved it. But like I said, I felt that after it happened, and then I started to think again about the rest of the episode and then other things throughout the season, it seemed like this was kind of a telegraphed thing in some respects. But I don't see the series ending with the, whole it's a dream sequence kind of thing. Like Nokotan's going to be real. It'll be interesting to see how we transition from this blip of Nokotan isn't real back to her being real. That's what I'm interested in the final episode and how they handle that. Because I don't think we've ever, with the exception of the first episode where they hinted at Anko at the end of it, where they showed her like staring evilly.
Yeah.
None of the other episodes have ended with this look forward kind of cliffhanger.
Yeah.
They've all just kind of wrapped up neatly.
Yep.
Except for the first episode. So.
And now the second to last episode.
Which it's, unless you're going to do another series or just be a dick about it, it's difficult to have the last episode end like that.
Yeah.
So, it made me definitely more interested to see the final episode.
Me too. I'm ready.
It was good. This was a weird episode.
Yeah, it was fucking bizarre.
I don't know how I feel about any of it.
I kind of liked the insanity.
It was definitely a different change of pace from what we've been dealing with the past couple of episodes.
I like that we finally got to see the context of her coming out of the
deer mask. Yeah, when she was hiding from the hunter in the principal's office.
So that principal did nothing.
The stare down with him and the principal's just like, yep, if I don't move, he won't see me.
The principal didn't move after she got out of the...
Yep, nothing. Just stone cold. He was the only authority figure even shown. And there were a couple of times where Koshan was like, how is nobody stopping him from being here as he hunts?
I think the principal was weakened at Bernie's.
Maybe. No, I don't think so. I think he was just...
He's just a dead body sitting in that chair.
Just weak-willed and stunned into...
He's a dead body sitting
obsolescence.
in that chair.
All in all, I think it was a good week. I like the unique and unusual way that Shoshimin ended its first season. It leaves me more interested than I may have been if it would have wrapped up nice and tidily to await the second season. I'm not sad that I have to wait six months for the second season, but I'm looking more forward to it now after seeing the episode with already knowing that the second season was going to exist in the first place.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're relieved that you're done with the show.
Thank God.
I'll try to pick something just as good for next season.
I'm excited for my pick.
We'll get into that probably next week. Ramen Akaneko was great. I'm glad we got the Bunzo story.
Me too. I'm just hoping we get Sabu and we get fucking Tamako in the last episode.
There's a chance we might not get any deeper digging into Tamako, but I don't know. There's a possibility, but
there's so much tea they need to spill.
There is a little bit, yeah.
Let me have it.
We definitely... I can't see us not getting Sabu's story, though.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to get Sabu's.
They have done all the cats, so...
Yes, he's the last one that we need to dig into. And... yeah, Nokotan threw me for a loop with that ending.
The fever dream of Nokotan. Yeah, as soon as it was like, what are you talking about? I was like...
yeah, that was good. And it happened both in the class and then at the club room.
Yeah. Especially after Koshitan was like, I think I'm okay with this.
Yep.
And very, very almost confession interaction. She seemed very in love with Nokotan.
I don't know about that. I think where at first she was very resistant to the insanity that Nokotan brought to her life. She's now grown accustomed to it and is welcoming it as a distraction from the mundanity of what she deals with, trying to be the ideal student as she closes out her high school career. We'll see how it ends next week.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No. It's pretty solid week this week.
Yeah. No, we just gotta drill down on next season and just make sure that the shows on the list are gonna be readily available for us to watch every week and review. Crunchyroll and High Dive are being a little slow on picking up some of the titles. So I don't know. We got a couple weeks still.
Yeah, it's true. They did what? It doesn't start till October.
Yeah, I think a lot of the shows really don't kick in until October 5th or 6th.
Okay.
I believe the one you're looking at doesn't start until October 12th, if I remember.
Okay.
So, all right. Thanks again for listening. Do not forget to like, subscribe, comment. Check us out on the different social media platforms.
Interact with us on Discord.
Yeah. Discord channel. We've got the link to join in on the end card. We've got the TikTok channel, which I need to throw out more videos for. I need to just spit out more of our short content anyways. I've got a backlog of about a dozen of them that I just haven't been able to move forward on. They'll get there eventually. What else? The blog itself, the Otaku Network, Twitter, Next month, we're planning on recording a third side quest episode, where we're gonna have a guest. And we're gonna watch the seminal '90s samurai movie Ninja Scroll. It'll be interesting to see David's take on what was considered a classic by my generation of anime fans. All right.
I'm afraid, because you and Paul talk about it like it's something special.
I haven't seen it in 20 years, probably. No, longer than that. I haven't seen. Honestly, I don't think I've seen it since the '90s. I've watched it a number of times, and for a long time now, I've wanted to revisit it and approach it with the perspective that I have now over the years, as my opinions and desires out of the anime medium have changed drastically over the 3+ decades that I've been watching anime. Otherwise, yeah. We will see you all next week. Thanks for listening.